LSU at Texas. They get a big win. And for a lot of people, probably the first time they're seeing Joe Burrow, and what they saw was the best of him so far. For you, for someone that has seen this LSU program and Joe up close for a while now, is this what we can expect for the rest of the year from him and this offense?
No doubt. And, last year, Mike, he was good. He wasn't great. He led LSU to a last-second win at Auburn, which I think was his coming out party. But there were some other games when he didn't do very well, especially against Alabama. That was a 1 versus 3 matchup, and Alabama put a shutout in Baton Rouge on him. But this year, they've opened up the offense. They have some skill position players. So much has been made about Joe Brady coming over from the Saints. Maybe too much, because we saw the Saints last night did quite well without Joe Brady, but he brought the Saints way up the road, up the highway to Baton Rouge, and that had been one of Ed Orgeron's problems. He was just too stubborn, and now that he's opened it up, and I think the Texas game was a crucible, because had that game gone badly, many LSU fans feared that Orgeron would go back a little bit into that shell. He's not going to now, because that offense is dynamite. Now, the only negative I've heard in the aftermath is they gave up 38 points. They gave up 38 points to a skilled quarterback in Ellinger. That could be an issue down the road when LSU deals with the likes of Alabama and maybe more. But they are definitely in a position. I think they'll be undefeated going into Tuscaloosa in early November.
Talking one of the things about that, we're going to talk to Ed Orgeron, head coach at LSU, here in a bit. We talked about the heat that was in Texas. What do you make of the complaint now from Alabama when they play Southern Miss in a couple of weeks, that the 11 a.m. start time and the potential heat factor that could be involved in this? We've certainly seen this before with other teams, but it was so hot in Texas, it said like 120 on the field, and a legitimate concern for the players out there.
Listen, I understand the concern, and very few fans, especially in the South, want to go to an 11 o'clock game. But Nick Saban made that decision some time ago when he scheduled Southern Miss. Had he scheduled Notre Dame on the same day, guess what? That game would be in prime time, like the Georgia-Notre Dame game is in Athens. This is what you get. And besides, when you're in a conference like the SEC and you want to take the $30, $40, $50 million, whatever it is a year from all the TV money, you end up, even if you're Alabama, playing when they tell you to play. And I find it interesting that Alabama's complaining. Everyone else just takes the check, but Nick Saban has to make a big deal about it. I think it's much ado about nothing, and it goes back to what I said. Schedule a better game than Southern Miss, and you won't be at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Paul Finebaum with us, host of the Paul Finebaum Show. We like to call him Paul on the SEC Network. Paul, let's talk a little bit about the Pac-12. USC is off to a 2-0 start. They get the big win over Stanford, but then Lynn Swann decides to step down as the athletic director. How surprised were you by that?
That rumor has been circulating for some time. The bigger question is, why was Lynn Swann ever hired as the athletic director? By almost all accounts, he was ineffectual. He played golf and schmoozed fat cats. And SC has been down this road before. I think my county is the third former player in a row to have that position. Yep. And quite frankly, this is not the way you're supposed to do it. You need administrators, people that understand how to run an athletic department. And I never got the impression that Lynn Swann knew what he was doing. He was great to take somebody to Augusta for a round of golf, but in terms of management, I think he was a terrible athletic director.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.